This is the updated eProdigy Banff. I first saw this when I was visiting Toronto, and I was just so excited about the baskets and how cute it looked. It comes in a whole range of colors, including this baby blue, but they have like an ivory, black, white, and I think they're even considering a pink, which is neat. So there's, maybe some guys would want pink, but I think this is a little bit more oriented to the cute, easy to stand over, smaller frame size. And it's a fun bike. It comes with a ton of features. You can see these plastic fenders, plastic chain guard. We've got a front basket, which is optional, but you get this rear basket, also optional, but the rear rack comes standard. Okay, so the battery pack that's on there is a huge upgrade from the last version I covered. It's a lot much stronger and much larger, 48 volts, 11.6 amp hours. And the rack says max weight 25 kilograms, so about 55 pounds. So that battery, that takes up 7 or 8 pounds of it. So you kind of do the math and it's like, okay, maybe carry 15 pounds worth of gear. I don't even know if you could fit 15 if you got this basket, which by the way is an additional $50. $50 more gets you the front basket with another basket. So that's wicker. That's like real organic material. You were riding it over here. What do you think about the baskets and stuff, Moni?
I like the baskets a lot. I have a Shih Tzu, small dog, so I think this basket will be perfect to ride with her over here, And also you can take it out when you go to the groceries or whatever. Don't use bags, plastic bags. Put all your stuff there and come back.
That's a good point.
Place it,
Yeah.
I think it's really cute. I like the colors. I think they did a really good job on like mashing the blue with the brown.
Yeah.
It's like really chic. I like it. And you can also put your helmet and everything in the basket over here. So I like all that. You nailed it. I think it's just so useful. But one thing I noticed when you were riding it is that we came up this driveway and there was a crack, and you could hear it like the baskets, they move a little bit. Maybe we need to secure them or something.
That's true. They aren't secured. We're at Outdoor Demo Day in Las Vegas for Interbike. So this is the newest thing. It's an upgraded model. It's a really phenomenal system. You were saying you felt like it was pretty powerful.
Really powerful and a little bit heavy for me, maybe.
It's 59 pounds. We just weighed it without the actual wicker baskets, but it did have the mesh up front. So 58 pounds if you didn't get the accessories. The motor though, it's 750 watts nominal, and they say 850 peak, and they were saying like 110 newton meters of torque. I mean, these are some pretty impressive ratings. And the label on the side says Achiever, which is an in-house brand. We're speaking with Melody, who's one of the founders of this company. They're from Canada, in Vancouver. Yeah, and it's her dad designs that stuff. So this is very proprietary, and they call it a coaxial mid-drive. So co meaning like with the axle, and then there's the hub motor. It's geared. I heard it a little bit, I could hear it, but there's like 5 levels of assist, so you can dial it down. And they said you can even change the wattage output, so it's not like if you're concerned about power and you don't want to go as fast, you have some control. What levels did you ride in on our way here?
Just one.
Just one. How did that feel?
It was good. It feels good. We were going downhill, so
That's true. Did you use the throttle at all?
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
When we were coming over here.
Up the driveway. I saw you do that. Yeah, you were kind of like, need some boost.
Okay.
Because it is heavy. You wouldn't want to, or I wouldn't want to, run out of batteries on this thing because you'd be like struggling. But they've upgraded from the last version. It had a 3-speed internally geared Sturmey Archer. This one has a 5-speed. And internal gearing means it stays clean. You don't have to worry about a derailleur for shifting. It's all inside there. So again, with the fenders and everything, if you live somewhere like certain parts of Canada, it rains a lot. This is just going to stay cleaner and nicer, and it's pretty durable. 5 speeds means you can climb a little bit easier, and you can also hit those higher speeds. There's more increments in between, a little bit more sophisticated. You change gears up here by using that grip shifter, and you might notice there's another little hub thing. This is a Sanyo dynamo, and when you're riding, it spins, and it gives you power for the headlight, which is, pretty nice. It's mounted out in front of the basket. You might have to angle it or tighten it, a little bit bouncy. So if you're riding, you could get a little bit of strobing effect, but I love that it has it. One thing it's missing is a rear light. You could always add one of your own, but it does have these two big reflectors integrated. There's no bottle cage bosses on this, but a lot of times they skip it because you don't want to hit your foot when you're stepping over the frame. And you of course have the baskets and stuff where you can put those too. There's a pannier guard. That's what this extra metal is for. So if you're hanging panniers on the side, they don't snag on the tires. And actually, I like the tires. You can see they've got reflective sidewall stripes. They're from Kenda. They've got K-Shield, so they're puncture resistant, and they're 26 by 1.75, which is very traditional. I'd call them hybrid tires because it's slick in the middle, but it's got a little bit of a tread pattern on the sides to give you some extra grip. Also an upgrade here are these new Welgo pedals. They're pretty solid, and they aren't quite as wide as some of the other Welgos, which sometimes I would complain about. As a guy, it's like if you have really big feet, you want tons of surface area, but then they can hit the ground if you're turning. And so these ones are a little narrower, and I think I know I'm generalizing here, but this only comes in one size. It's it's more of like a female-oriented bike, right? And so these pedals, I think, are a really good choice for that. And I love that, look, integrated cables, like it looks pretty clean. This is a purpose-built electric bike, but you do pay for some of these upgrades. You pay for that larger battery capacity. Earlier I was like, yeah, you don't want to run out of battery because it's heavy. Well, you kind of won't. I mean, that's a big battery in there, 48 volts, 11.6 amp hours with a mid-drive. You should be able to get 30 plus miles of range if you're, really hard, like using the throttle, highest level of assist. If you're on a lower level of assist, like if you see the battery going down and you shift to 1 or 2, that'll take you lots of miles, maybe 50 plus, that kind of thing. What am I missing here? There's a lot to celebrate.
I really like it. I think it's super cute. It's kind of like different from the other bikes that I have been riding with you. Like it's fancy. It's you want to go out with this. You want to be seen with this.
Yeah.
And I seriously like that it's super low.
Yeah. How tall are you, Moni?
5'1".
5'1". Yeah. So it's a little more petite.
It's heavy, but then you can, like anytime you can go down or whatever. I really like that.
Yeah, you can step down without hitting your legs.
Yeah, exactly.
We've had that before where you were riding other bikes and kind of bumped your legs. Yeah. How did the seat feel? Because it's a really big.
Oh yeah, the seat is perfect. I love it. I love all these. I really like it.
All this, me too. I love it.
All this area.
A 27.2 millimeter seat post, by the way. You'll notice there's no suspension. This is an all aluminum frame, rigid aluminum fork. And that means that, if you're riding at higher speeds and it's not super smooth like the trail here, you could start to feel it and the rattling could start to happen. If you want to take care of your back and your butt a little bit more, you can get one of those. There's Body Float, there's Stud Buster, whole bunch of options, and then all of a sudden you have some extra suspension. But I think that the springs already do some of that, and the adjustable angle stem and the swept back bar. Yeah, it's not like you have to reach.
Also, it's like you're relaxed driving. Riding the bike, and you feel like comfortable and pretty and chic and everything.
You look pretty,
I like it.
Oh, this is another cool feature that I almost forgot. Look at that, built right in. That's a good. Oh, do you hear the dogs barking? They're like, woof, woof, woof. Someone wants to play. There. Oh, there they are. We're at like an animal rescue place here in the parking lot, just having fun. I think that's a great coverage. Bikes like this, there's a lot to appreciate. I'm realizing that I should also mention these are e-bike specific brakes. They have a motor inhibitor, so when you squeeze them, it cuts the motor. So if you ever feel out of control, you hit the brakes, it's done.
Which is good.
That's a good safety feature. And then the brakes themselves are okay. They're Tektro kind of V-brakes or linear pull. They're not disc brakes or anything, but you actually get good leverage. The question mark is, okay, if you're actually riding in snow or wet, the fenders help. But if the rims get a little wet, you start to get the squeaky brakes, and it's a little bit of a step down from like hydraulic disc brakes would be awesome. But then it might be even more. Did I already say how much it is? It's $25.99.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that's a little bit more expensive, but I can understand. Panasonic sells. I think they have a good warranty. This is a Canadian company. It's a family thing. It feels like you're not just buying like a basic bike.
And the baskets are also kind of like expensive because the material that they use is
wicker. Yeah.
So
which is, it looks nice, but over time, you see it kind of breaks up a little bit and it's maybe not as resilient in water. So, you know, yeah, I think that's awesome. I could talk about this bike for a long time. There's a lot to appreciate. I'll have more specs back at the site that we recorded, including the standover height, the length. It only comes in one size. Yeah, so check that out. And of course, feel free to chime in with any feedback or something you may have. If you have the older version and you're like, oh, I really like this or didn't like that, do that. Should we hop on and do a ride? Can I ride by you? Like, you'll be on it?
Yeah.
Here, let me take a loop on it myself, because I haven't ridden a whole lot, and then we'll ride side by side.
All right.
Okay, so the other thing I should mention is it's two-step on-off process. You press on the battery, then you come up here and press on the controller pad. It's a little bit of extra step, and you might forget and be like, why isn't my bike working? It just takes a minute to figure that out. But once you do, it works okay. Here's the kickstand. It's adjustable length, and it's a little, you know, like, it kind of tips it pretty far over. That's why we had this rock helping us. I'm gonna hop on.
You can adjust that.
I did. I put it as far down as it could go already. I'm gonna go up to the highest level of assist, level 5, and really get crazy with this thing. I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay, and it's cadence sensing, so you don't really have to push. You just barely turn your crank arms and it starts. Here's the bump. You see it shaking around a lot, and the basket in the back. It's really not tied down, so you have to be careful. It's a pretty big hill right here, and I'm having no problem. One of the cool things about internally geared hubs is that you can shift at standstill, so I'm gonna try that. Get here, I pretend I'm at a stop sign, shift. Now I'm gonna start again, and I'm in the new gear. That's pretty awesome. I like that. It's a neat feature, and it actually worked really well. And of course, the trigger throttle. Sometimes with, you know, girls with the smaller hands and stuff, twist throttles aren't as comfortable, so having just a little cute little trigger is kind of nice. Look at that, it's just carrying me right up this hill. Climbing. Yeah, you can kind of see the chain in there moving. It's a lot of power. I weigh 135 pounds, and we slowed down a lot and started again, and that's tough for motors to do. And I thought it handled it pretty well. This time I'm gonna start and stop pedaling, and you can see how quickly it responds. You know, it took a couple pedal rotations that second time, but overall, not bad. I'm also noticing there's a bit of frame flex. And that's because it's a deep step through, or like a wave bike is what they call it in parts of Europe. So, you know, that's something to kind of keep an eye on, or it's a consideration. You don't really need a super stiff frame when you're just cruising around the neighborhood, and it's kind of nice, a little bit of flex. It's something I point out whenever. Oh boy, bouncy. Okay, babe, you ready? She looks ready. Here we go. You can do it. I liked it. It is actually pretty powerful. We got a little bit of we might have lost a bolt there. We're gonna have to go back and look around. So that's another good consideration. Like, these weren't super tight because it's meant to go up and down really easily. Maybe I should just carry this separately. Yeah, because the bouncing. So you've got the idea. We weren't being especially hard on this, but there is that bump over there. That's a little bit of a thing. You can use the throttle right away just to start. Uh-oh, my bike's not on. There we go. You're in 3?
Yeah. Right or left?
Let's go right.
Yeah, because the other one says do not enter.
Do not enter. Don't go that way. There's a hill. I can't keep up with her on the bike that I'm on. I'm full throttle. Now she's in 5. That's awesome. So that's one of the things about, you know, electric bikes. Maybe for people with shorter legs or a little less strength. Moni's pretty tough, but I have longer legs, and so she can outpace me on that bike. It's great for couples who want to stick together and, you know, not struggle with the hills, not struggle with the wind. How did it feel going up that hill?
It was easy to go.
You like beat me.
I was like in 5. I wanted to try the 5.
Yeah.
So it's good.
You feeling more
Yeah,
comfortable
I like
on
it.
this now?
Yeah.
I know at first it was like, oh, it's kind of heavy.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is
yeah,
heavy.
yeah, yeah.
You could reduce the weight by taking the battery out and the baskets, but it's still a heavier bike. So it's great that there's a strong motor. Now show me walk mode. This is for, you know, we're on a hill. It's a heavy bike. You hold that down arrow and the bike walks itself. So you don't have to push it. Isn't that cool? What do you think? I could get used to this. Good job. I think we've covered it. For the full written review on this with all the specs and stuff, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com. And of course, have fun, ride
Adios.
safe.